2018 Hyundai Ioniq car review. The 2018 Hyundai Ioniq plug-in hybrid was fully charged, and eco mode was selected. Pulling out onto a fast-paced boulevard, we suppressed the desire to floor the accelerator, instead dipping maybe halfway in the pedals travel. And the engine energized. The good points of 2018 Hyundai Ioniq: normal sounding powertrain, perky sport mode, quiet interior, comfortable. The bad points of 2018 Hyundai Ioniq: not as electric perhaps you might expect, tight rear seat headroom. Clearly, Hyundai's dedicated eco-warrior doesn't perform like the Chevrolet Volt and also the Toyota Prius Prime, which flaunt their capacity to drive without tailpipe emissions, keeping their gasoline engines shut down as much as it can be. It was a surprise first impression. What is the sound of the hybrid running? This observation underscores that plug-in hybrids aren't all created to the same formula. They're amalgams, products of a diet abundant with California's EV credit steroids and engineered for regulatory compliance. While the Volt and also the Prius Prime enable you to lock in electric mode for a distance that's within daily commuting range for several Americans, the Ioniq plug-in hybrid's powertrain operates similar to that of Ford's Fusion Energy and Max Energy, the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, and also the Hyundai Sonata plug-in hybrid. The gasoline engine definitely fires up less often compared to a standard hybrid, however the boundaries are blurred. For the Ioniq, Hyundai says the treatment depends on torque demands, load, and vehicle speed, and even rate where you depress the accelerator. Provided you're okay with this concept, it is a very pleasant driving car that applies the cost you put inside battery toward getting several miles as it can be out of what exactly is in the fuel tank. Just as from the Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid, the plug-in incorporates a 104 horsepower 1.6-liter Atkinson-cycle inline four that claims 40% thermal efficiency. There's a lightweight, low-friction 6-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox, by having an electric motor affixed towards the transmission's input plus a computer-controlled clutch bringing the engine into or from the mix. What's different is the fact in place on the hybrid's 1.6 kWh power supply. The PHEV incorporates a larger 8.9 kWh version which can be fully charged in only 2.5 hours with level 2 240-volt hardware, enabling what Hyundai anticipates being 27 miles of all-electric range. Keeping the light source foot for the throttle, we got long stretches of 70 miles per hour cruising using only battery pack. A 60 horsepower electric motor replaces the hybrid's 43 horsepower unit to allow that wider band of electric operation. More mainstream, less geeky. The powertrain far outdoes the majority of hybrids for charm, simply because as you accelerate and also the engine joins in your soul hear good, life-affirming zoomy sounds of revs rising and gears changing. Although there's an undercurrent of efficiency machinations happening behind the scenes, the plug-in hybrid drives as being a non-hybrid car if the engine is running. It also skips the interface silliness. The gauge cluster is just about the most straightforward you'll discover in a hybrid, where there are just a number of driving mode choices. If you want to avoid wasting battery charge for later, there's an HEV mode that runs the gasoline engine a good deal more, as the charge were depleted. Other than that, pulling the shift lever over to your left engages sport mode, which weights the steering, provides you with a tachometer within the cluster, and runs the gasoline engine more, in any other case quite constantly. Hyundai notes, however, the steering, ride, and hybrid system calibrations we experienced could change when this model proceeds sale this fall. The another thing Hyundai's first Sonata plug-in hybrid had that model doesn't is really a charge touring mode which uses the gasoline engine to recharge the plug-in portion with the battery albeit when using a great deal more fuel. Such modes rarely add up from an efficiency standpoint, and in accordance with Mike O'Brien, Hyundai's U.S. Vice Chairman of Corporate and Product Planning, the automaker found out that very few citizens were using that mode, or it might be knew it existed, so Hyundai opted to skip it here. Thankfully, Hyundai also adopted a less is more philosophy with regard for the exterior styling, in stark contrast to your Prius's Mr. Roboto sheet metal. The Ioniq keeps the aerodynamic look at the familiar teardrop, comeback profile common to the many efficiency champs, even though it manages an outstanding 0.24 coefficient of drag aided by grille shutters and underbody aero smoothing. It couldn't look more not the same as the Prius. The Ioniq plug-in hybrid gains advantage from being built with a dedicated ECO vehicle platform, with the aluminum hood, liftgate, and suspension components plus packaging that keeps seating and cargo space usually from being compromised so that you can fit both a battery power and an 11.4-gallon fuel tank. Inside the Ioniq plug-in, the impression is one kind of benign normalcy. One could equally as easily be in a Elantra. The front seats certainly are a little short, and rear headroom sense is scarce for taller folks, but Hyundai has achieved normal backseat accommodations, without either the Prius Prime's repositioned two-passenger rear seating and the Volt's tight middle position. Like the Ioniq Electric, the plug-in likely includes standard heated seats and, through BlueLink telematics, the power for climate preconditioning, products which can lessen dependence within the traditional climate control system, thereby increasing range. As with numerous green cars, the purchaser of the Ioniq plug-in may wish to make sure the car's the fact is in alignment using expectations. Those who desire a plug-in to act being a fully electric car at the very least for short distances probably should look instead for the Volt or even the Prius Prime. But if you're to the idea of plugging in regularly merely that will put a major dent within your fuel budget, this PHEV works wonders without weirdness.